I felt like I wasn't really listened to. I felt disheartened. I felt like maybe I was crazy. Maybe I was losing my mind. Maybe all of these things were just in my imagination. I started to lose hope. My name is Erica Dellinger, and this is my advice. Trust yourself. Listen to your body. You know it better than anybody. I became ill about 8.5 years ago. I had been healthy. I was active. I had just finished a mud run with my girlfriends from high school. And within months of that, I couldn't get out of bed. I felt like I had been drugged the night before. Extreme fatigue. I lost my appetite and gained weight. My hair was falling out. I had terrible brain fog. My brain just was not functioning like it used to. And I think, like a lot of women especially, I thought there was just something wrong with me. Why did I lose my motivation? Why couldn't I get out of bed and work out anymore? What was I doing wrong? And this went on for months, and it was getting progressively worse. As women, we'll just handle everything. Everything's fine. And we try to trooper through things. Maybe don't seek out help as soon as we should. Finally made an appointment with my doctor, but I waited 6 months, and I wish I hadn't. I know my body. People know their bodies better than anybody else. But I just kept pushing it off. I was tested for everything. Everything was tested. I was told that when the results came in, they would let me know what the next steps would be. All of my results were in the quote-unquote normal range, and they said that it was probably a virus and that I should rest and drink my fluids. And I thought to myself, this is a 6-month-long virus, and it's not right. 4 months after that, when everything was not only still there but worse, I went back to the doctor. More tests were ordered, and the comment that was made to me was, well, you are getting older, dear. And that was truly a disheartening statement to hear from a doctor. And again, all my tests came back normal, and I was sent on my way. And I spent another 8 months like that, so all told, I spent 1.5 years, and I felt like I lost that part of my life. I was finally diagnosed 1.5 years after I initially became sick with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is where my immune system was attacking and destroying my thyroid. And as odd as it sounds, I felt relieved because there was something tangible. It wasn't just I was lazy or I was just getting older. I felt vindicated in a way. And I went on medication, and within a few months I started to feel like the old me again. It took time, but I felt like I got my life back. My kids mentioned that I seemed like a different person. My son told me I smiled and laughed again, and I don't think I realized until that point how little of that I was doing, because I could barely function, and just getting through my day was a lot. I was doing great, and about 1.5 years after that, I started feeling some of those same symptoms again, only it felt a little more extreme, some of it. I was getting more fatigue. My hands started to ache. My muscles felt weak. It was very difficult for me to even lift my arms. Crying spells. I thought, oh boy, my thyroid's out of whack. I need to go get my levels checked. And I did, and I had an endocrinologist by that point, said it wasn't my thyroid. Ran some more tests, and it indicated I had more autoimmune issues, which is not unusual. If you get one autoimmune disease, you're way more likely to get more diagnoses. I ended up at a rheumatologist, which is the doctor who specializes in autoimmune disease, and he was probably the best medical doctor I've ever had. He spent an hour with me my first visit. He didn't even examine me. He asked me questions for 40 minutes first before he examined me. He told me that his office was the last place anybody wanted to be, because by the time they got there, all he had were medications that would make me feel better and help me function, but ultimately would make me sicker. And I thought, wow, we really need more doctors like this, to be honest. He was the only doctor I've ever had that talked to me about what food was I eating. Was I eating the standard American diet? Was I exercising? Did I have a spiritual practice? So he was amazing. He told me I was showing early signs of lupus, which scared me because the Hashimoto's was only attacking my thyroid. Lupus doesn't discriminate. It can attack your skin. It likes the kidneys, your heart, your brain. So anytime I would have one of these flare-ups, I would be in bed for days. I would be in pain. I would be on steroids for weeks, which led to a stomach ulcer. This went on for about 1 year. In the meantime, I had completely changed my diet. I stopped eating gluten. I stopped eating dairy. I was already taking a probiotic. I switched to a better one and could tell a difference with my mental health, how I was feeling, and I started taking a supplement. It's a plant called Moringa oleifera. And I had been on it for a few months and I was feeling better, and I woke up one morning and I had a sore throat and I started to cry because I thought, here we go again. I'm going to miss days of work. I'm going to be in bed. I'm going to have to take these medications that I don't really like. And all I ever got was a sore throat. And finally, things were starting to turn around. So I continued doing all of the things naturally that I could to support my body, and it started to heal. I haven't been to the rheumatologist in years. He discharged me. I'm showing no signs. My blood work was completely normal. The early signs of lupus that I was showing is gone. I'm not on my thyroid medication anymore, which is huge. So you really have to do your own research. You have to advocate for yourself. Research, research, research. If you're getting one of these diagnoses, read everything you can about it. I kept researching and looking and finding answers that doctors weren't giving me. Autoimmune disease, one of the sources I found, said is a perfect storm of a leaky gut, which is where undigested bits of food can leak out into your system, and your immune system recognizes this as a foreign body, does what it's supposed to do and ramps up, but then it doesn't always know to stop. If your mother and grandmother had thyroid disease that was autoimmune, you're more likely to get it. But I want people to know that that doesn't mean you're going to get it. Genetics can load the gun, but lifestyle is what pulls the trigger. So if you do have a genetic predisposition, you can do things like take care of your gut. When this happened to me, I started to have a very almost adversarial relationship with my body. I got really mad at my body, and anger is not good for your health. I would advise people to, if your child was sick, if your best friend was sick, you wouldn't blame them, you wouldn't get angry with them, you would just love them and support them, and you need to do that for yourself. And don't lose hope, because there's always hope, and there's always people that are willing to help. Having gone through receiving diagnosis of autoimmune disease and living with the symptoms of that for so long and finding ways to improve my health, naturally it led me to wanting to be able to help other people to do the same thing. I think a lot of people just don't know. I didn't know a lot of the things that were going to help me until I went out and looked for it. Some people may not even know to go and look for it. I made the decision to attend a school, a natural health school, and become a certified natural health professional, because I think it's so important for people to know that there are things that they can do for their health themselves. I think a lot of times when we get any kind of diagnosis, we sometimes feel like a victim or we feel helpless. And I want to help people understand that there are things that they can take control of with their health to move forward, that they don't have to be stuck, that this diagnosis doesn't have to define them or keep them stuck. Our bodies have amazing potential and power to heal themselves if we give our bodies the right nutrition, the right tools. It can really do amazing things.
If we knew then all that we know now, I think the world would be better somehow. And if way back when someone showed